Is rolling.
Baby, I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is wrong with regret, but it knows that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess you created. The one that you hated.
Happy Sunday.
All right. A little bit of fun this morning. Sorry.
All right. Good morning, America. Good morning and happy Sunday morning. This is the Big Show hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me is my co-host and color commentator, Dwayne Ward. He's also the host of Pissed Off Parent. Make sure you check him out. And we have a special guest today. We have Coach Rich Massa, one of the best certified trainers in the entire Florida market. The Big Show is a podcast where we discuss modern day issues like men's health, masculinity, the hard truth about dating, and what makes a man a man. So let's get the Big Show started. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you guys?
Morning.
All right.
We're here. We're live. We're moving.
Yeah, we're live.
What we got?
So we got our first special guest, Rich Massa, here in the studio. Richie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. So for those of you guys who do not know who Rich Massa is, let me tell you, he is not only an accomplished personal trainer, but he's also a dear friend and personal friend of mine for over 24 years. Rich Massa is a personal training director in Orlando, Florida. He's 6-time nationally certified, has over 18 years of experience, and trained over 1,000 clients.
Now, don't forget, I'm also 5'7", 195 pounds. Steel and sex appeal.
Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal. He's also
We'll
father.
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
He's also a father of a 5-year-old girl too.
Well,
Right.
listen, just also let you know if there are ladies watching. I also like pina coladas. I don't like to get caught in the rain.
Oh yeah. He's also not into yoga, and he only has half a brain. So there's
I'm on the show to get insulted. All right.
well, it's coming your way. So trust me. So let me kind of share with you guys a little bit about me and Rich, and our friendship, and also, of course, our friendly rivalry. So Rich and I, Rich is actually my best friend. I've known him for over 24 years. We actually used to work in the same entertainment agency, doing fitness modeling, entertaining, and we even bartended together years ago. I think Dwayne has a picture of. Don't you have a picture of Rich and I bartending like?
I think I do. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I'm gonna make sure I get it on the video.
Richie, tell me if you remember this picture. This is like 20-something years ago during Halloween.
Oh,
This is Rich.
I can definitely tell it's the early 2000s with the blonde highlights and the earrings.
Yeah, look at those earrings and the little blonde tips you got going on there.
Are those frosted tips?
Yes.
Frosted flakes?
At the time. All right.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So this is us bartending like 20-something years ago on Halloween, I think it was. But yeah. So Rich and I have known each other for quite some time.
Wait, are you copying that one?
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
never seen this. Let's see here. Let me blow that up here. We're gonna have a little bit of fun with this. Hold on. What?
Yeah.
Wait.
I got the belt going. I got the baton. Oh yeah.
Wow, you were trying to be all legit.
Oh yeah. Whenever we did it right. I mean, shoot, Rich and I had a ton of like dream jobs. I mean, we had the best 20s any man could ever have. I mean, we were the best men in each other's weddings, and also ironically, yeah. So both of our weddings, we were the best men in each other's wedding, and ironically, we were both the best men in each other's divorce parties as well. So,
just gonna ask, like, were you guys warning each other before, like, as they're walking down the aisle, like, don't do it.
Yeah,
actually warned me of mine. and I did not listen. He was like, "Hey, listen, are you sure you want to do this?"
I did.
You know?
I left the car running, but he did not jump in. And remember whenever you were at the altar and I was handing you the ring and I wouldn't give it to you and you had like full. I'm like, are you sure about this?
Yeah.
Are you absolutely sure?
Watching now. We can get the voice later, but we got to get through it.
All right, fine. So I also got to tell you about our ongoing rivalry. You know, Rich has always been really super heavy into fitness, you know, dieting and bodybuilding. And, you know, I was more of the sports guy growing up. I could wipe the floor with him in just about every sport. But when it came to the gym, he always beated me in dedication, hard work, powerlifting, and strength records. I mean, the guy is an absolute beast. I get a lot of my dedication from Rich, if I'm being honest. Rich was always, you know, surrounded by larger guys, so he always put a focus on powerlifting and made sure that you know, he was not unrivaled in that arena. So I got to give it to him. You know, he may not have been able to beat me in football, basketball, baseball, things like that, but in the gym, I always had a hard time with him. You know, Rich is the kind of guy that he'll cut the sleeves off of his Snuggie just because it makes him look a little more badass.
But don't forget the gold chain on there too. All right.
Yeah.
I should have like gold chain about right there.
I could tell just by the tone of Jim's voice when an insult is coming. That's why it's like, I'm surprised he didn't put my face on that box.
I just ran out of time, but trust me, it was thought about plenty of times.
I got Photoshop. There'll be an after picture.
Let me tell you something. If we have time later, I'll tell you about some stories about the Snuggle Master over here. Okay? And look how he's shaking his head. He knows exactly the story I'm talking about. But
You will never.
It's a big show, so I'm gonna let you do your thing.
You will never be called back to the show ever again. So, you know, Rich, one thing I really appreciate about you though is that you were always very laser focused on your physique, always laser focused on lifting. You had that dedication that was impressive, man. So I've got to ask, because I've known you for a very long time. You've always stayed the course. You've always had that dedication. You know, what was it that fueled that dedication at such a young age? Why were you so hungry to push your body to these crazy limits?
Well, that's a good question. Back a long time ago in New Jersey. I grew up as in New Jersey, central New Jersey.
I wouldn't have
pretty much
guessed.
in the ghetto. So, what?
I wouldn't have guessed. Your accent kind of threw me off there. I was thinking more Midwestern.
Yeah.
California.
He's got the watch. He's got the tight black shirt. You know,
Right.
I mean,
My little brother's shirt. I have my little brother's shirt on.
I mean,
So,
Richie smells like Dior and Bad Decisions. I mean, you know, he's
Wait. Miss Mandalorian. We've got questions out there. I don't want to detract from the direction and all that stuff, but now we've got a need to know the story.
oh my God. Oh, the Snuggle Master story.
Yes.
I swear to God, I'll never bring you back on this show.
Just to answer your question, I grew up an overweight kid. My parents brought me up as a Jehovah's Witness. So an overweight Jehovah's Witness, I was beating the ladies off with a stick.
Oh yeah.
You know,
They were rushing towards you.
Overweight Jehovah's Witness in Jersey. But I felt, so I was incredibly popular in school and never got made fun of. But I felt growing up, my dad got me this weight set at around 13 years old. And I tell the story all the time.
Want to give you a fighting chance?
Old school cement weight set. He put it in the attic, and I was very curious about it. I literally touched it, and I felt like a shock of electricity go through my body. And I knew my life. It was like, oh, this is it right here. I felt like I know I was a little bit shy, but not. I loved people, but I said, there's another person that wants to come out of this shell, and I knew this was the way to do it. It became like my art, my discipline. You know, and of course, when you're growing up as a teenager, I wanted to show everybody and prove myself, but it became more of almost a self-development tool. It became like I always grow. It became my mental health anchor. It became a way of life. It helped me grow discipline. It gave me markers to go for. You know, there's no ultimate truth than you can either lift this weight or not lift this weight. I can see the results. So it just became a way of life and digging down deep and bringing out the person I knew was already there. And that's when I started getting into more entertainment and fitness modeling. And that's where I met my best friend. He's like family, as you can tell. I grew into, and like you said, I surrounded myself with larger guys because this personality came out. And that's how I got into, I said, I want to push this thing and see how far I can take it. And that's how I developed this way of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you definitely did a good job, and you made a great career out of it too,
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, busting your balls on the picture and all that. I mean, but still, you were cut. You were in shape. I mean, you had a good definition. You had bulked up. I don't know if this is kind of later, but did you ever? Or were we going to talk about like, when you were starting out, like what did you do to kind of figure stuff out? And the reason I asked that is like when I was younger, I got to meet one of my school grade heroes, Lou Ferrigno, a few weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, he was a guy that worked out and all that stuff, and I never obviously attained that. But like, who were your motivators? I mean, you didn't know Jimmy yet, so obviously. I mean,
I'm as motivated now, but back then I wasn't around. Yeah, I mean, before you idolized me, who did you idolize? Is basically the question.
Yeah.
Oh, before I met my next idol, Jim.
Right.
Cool.
I actually, just like any 70s, 80s kid, you idolize obviously Stallone. I was love Schwarzenegger. I just had these, and I started reading muscular development and fitness magazines, and that's like surface level, but it gave me at least a way like to start to know the nutrition basics and some lifting basics and before the science. But those were my role models, which I don't think we have these days, are these strong male role models. And I go, I want like Stallone when he was doing Rocky, it's like the underdog that's willing to fight. And I felt I identified. But then you have Schwarzenegger, who literally looked like a Greek statue. And that's like, is this ideal.
Right.
And for some reason, I related with both of these men. I go, these are going to be my role models who I aspire to be. So and watching movies and documentaries and watching Pumping Iron, it just fed that spirit. It gave me a pathway.
So I know enough about you to know that you have a philosophy to fitness. What is your philosophy? Share that with the crowd.
I believe I really believe that your body is a gift from God. It's a temple, not an amusement park. You treat it like in a temple, not an amusement park. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of these days.
Well, my temple's like 1,000 years old and it's got like monkey crap all over it and it's crumbling. Yeah. That's mine. But go ahead. Sorry.
I believe the body. I've come to develop a philosophy of a few ideas. Idea number one is the body should be a reflection of what it can do. I see a lot of, like when I go to the gym, a lot of guys look strong or they look great, but they're not strong. They can't even do a pull-up. They can't do the basic fundamentals. I also believe to maintain attraction from your mate or other women and to build confidence, you should have a body that women want and a body that men want to have. And that's always been my philosophy. I don't say I maintain it 100% all the time.
Yeah.
I have a body that women want, like, holy, I want to see what's under that shirt. But like when a man sees it, like, I admire that dedication, but it takes sacrifice and commitment. To me, it's the ultimate embodiment of discipline and strength. When you take off the shirt, you see a developed body. It's the embodiment of discipline and strength.
So, you and I have talked, over 2 decades now about every topic on the planet, and the topic of men have come up a lot of times and what it means to be a man, we were just, young adults whenever we first met. I mean, we were in our early 20s, just trying to figure out life, just trying to figure out how to become from a boy to a man. And one of the things that I noticed that you talk a lot about is things like duty, like, what is the duty to be a man, to be a masculine man. As it relates to fitness, do you feel that there is some sort of duty for men to work out, to exercise, or is it just like more of like an optional thing based on who you are? Like, what's your thoughts on duty?
No, well, first off, especially since having my daughter, which we'll touch on later, it's a man's responsibility. It's your duty to be fit and strong. if we're supposed to be leaders of the house, I am a follower of the Manosphere, and I don't know if this show will say I'm part of the Manosphere or Red Pill content, but if we're supposed to be leaders, we have to lead by example. We have to lead in multiple areas of life, your spiritual life. Like, it's one of the 7 deadly sins to be sloth-like.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to demand respect from my wife and my family, I have to lead by example. I'm not saying you have to have a 6-pack and this many big arms, but you should at least be fit to where you can lead the house in fitness, because they're going to follow your example. How are you supposed to expect your wife to respect you or protect your home when you can't run up the stairs?
Yeah, no, that's
You
true.
You should also be gluttony. Thank you, Amanda. Gluttony is the word I was looking for. Gluttony is a sin. Even though I'm not a man of stature like Jim, I want to be like, if I mess with this guy, I want to be an intimidating force. Like, this guy's a potential threat. Like, I want to demand that respect from other men. And that's why when I did surround myself with bigger guys, like, my personality fit, because it was like, I don't care. I'm going to come in and we're going to compete as men. I don't care about height, weight, age. You're not going to outwork me. You're not going to, like, that's a masculine trait. And it's going to, that should be a mindset for most men. You have to lead by example.
Yeah. I always felt that, one of the duties as men, of course, is to, protect, right? So we talk about providing a lot of times, but when it comes to the protection part, I think that women, they're looking for protection in multiple ways. And the two most important ways they're looking for protection from or security from is protection and security physically, of course, and also emotionally. So developing yourself as a true man that is wise and, intelligent and experienced is great. But on the safety part of it, I think that's a big deal for women. And as a man, I agree. I think it's your duty to be able to know how to fight. Now, I'm not saying you got to take UFC classes. I'm not saying that you even got to, take karate classes, but I mean, if you're going to, how about firearms training? If you don't want to put hands on someone, as you know, I'm a big firearms guy. I do competition shooting all the time, and I train.
Really?
We haven't shared that, but yeah, I do competition training with rifles, handguns, and shotguns. So, I oftentimes make sure that I'm proficient in those areas in case, like I mentioned before, chaos manifests itself. I mean, if 1 or 2 guys come into my household, I can take them with my hands. But I mean, if they're coming in with weapons, I'll meet that force with force. And I've got to be able to be proficient in it, because I don't want the woman that I'm with or the family I'm protecting to ever fall victim to some sort of assault because I wasn't man enough or proficient enough to be able to stop that threat. So, being able to, like Rich said, run up a flight of stairs. I mean, that goes a long ways, because if you can't run up a flight of stairs and you're gassed out, I mean, how are you ever going to put hands on a man and last 15 seconds in a brawl with someone? You'll be completely gassed out and have half a heart attack.
Yeah,
that's what I tell people now. I'm like, yeah, I can still fight. It's got to last 15 seconds or I'm out.
Yeah, the fight better be over quick. But Rich, I got a question for you. So I've known you for so long that I've noticed a paradigm shift in a couple aspects of your life. I've noticed a paradigm shift when you kind of fell into your manhood. I noticed a paradigm shift when you started your business as a business owner. Another one whenever you became a husband. But this recent paradigm shift is one that I've noticed has been probably the most substantial. You finally becoming a father. Tell me about, your daughter and how, your duty to be fit and strong plays an important role in that.
Yeah, that's a pretty personal. I get emotional every time I talk about this. My daughter was the best surprise I've ever had. She was with an ex-girlfriend, and we broke up. Just to give you a little backstory, 3 weeks later, I get this call that I'm having a baby, and I go, "Whose baby? Whose baby you having? Is it my baby?" I'm 41 years old at the time, and I went this long without getting anybody pregnant, and now so in that process, the first thing you're thinking of is I got to feed this kid. But then one day she just turned 5 on Thursday, and right around when she turned 2, during the pandemic, everything was very stressful. I was actually trying to become a professional motivational speaker and life coach. I wanted to take my coaching to another area. But obviously everything was shutting down at the time. Right. And I felt like I was getting a little bit of a dad bod. And I promised myself I would never be that guy, That was my own personal decision. But one day, I'm a big Superman fan. Love like these ideas of these superheroes. And Superman is like that ideal. We're playing one day, and I swore, and it took a lot of work for me to become an active father because, listen, some women, they don't respond well when you're not married. And I battled, and we'll get into that another time. But when I finally I'm spending time with her and we're playing, and she takes my Superman, I have some Superman action figures, nowhere near the collection that Dwayne has.
No, Dwayne's got you.
Action figures. No, don't judge me. And she holds it up. She goes, "Daddy."
Ooh.
And I went,
"You're right here in the field."
I get goosebumps talking about this, and it punched me in the gut. I'm like, the first thing I said was
it Superman or Ant-Man? Which one was it?
Oh.
That's two.
I'm sorry. It just came out. I apologize. I want to apologize. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry.
He did the crossover. Did DC to Marvel and just made that happen. Wow. All right.
But that really punched me in the gut. And I said, first off, I said to her, first off, lower the standards for your father. All right. That's Superman. But I also said, I was probably about approaching 200 pounds, and I was still in decent shape. I said, I'm going to look like that. I'm going to look like Superman for her. I'm going to get back into shape. And I took 6 months, and I got shredded. I went down to like 175, 178 maybe.
Wow.
Just lean, 9% body fat, and we took pictures together and I got my sister got me a Superman charm, and we wore Superman shirts together. And I needed new marketing because I knew I was going to go back into fitness because I knew it was part of the pandemic. But that became kind of like I made a promise to her that I was going to be her Superman, hers. I'm going to look like, because that's how your kids view you. They view you like a superhero. So I want to be that for her. So it's a driving force. So after I got shredded, I go, now I got to get strong again because I said I got to get back into my lifts, things that I'm passionate about, my deadlift, my squat. I got to look like it and I got to feel like it. So then I went up in that and I put on like 10 pounds of muscle. My lifts went back up. So that's a story of I got to be the example of strength and discipline and be her superhero and look like it so she could feel safe and like look up to her father. I want her to like, that's my dad. He's my Superman.
Yeah. Thinking about that, my thoughts on it is, and I'm just speaking just from the best I can because I don't have children, of course, but I used to be married. And I remember no kids that I know of. Yeah. But I remember when I was married, I had a paradigm shift as well. And I had this innate desire or want or need to be the man of the household, to play that role and to do it very well. My guess is, and I don't know, you can tell me what you think, Rich, but my guess is that I think that I probably would have a bigger desire to be a role model and look and act a part if I had children more so than when I was married. Did you find that to be the case? Because
yeah, I was married too. And, I always want to stay in shape, but it's nothing like when it's not fair having kids with like how much you love your kids. Like it's not, they have an advantage over you strategically, but yeah, you go to the next level, right, Dwayne? Like it's not fair how much I love you. Like I don't want to love you so much. I'm going to give it away, but
yeah. So Dwayne, you have 2 and a bonus child, right?
Yep. 2 bios and a bonus.
So whenever you were married, did you feel like a desire to be a better man? And then my follow-up question was it even more intense when you had kids, or was it the same? What do you think?
It definitely intensified once I had children because I had to be the protector of the house. I mean, trying to be like all the things that you've talked about, being the, when stuff hits the storm, I'm the guy that's got to make sure that the family's protected, emotionally, physically, all those pieces. And it was funny listening to you guys talk about that. It reminded me of the first time that my oldest saw me not be that guy. I was actually, I took karate, a couple times. I took Taekwondo younger, and then a little bit later, that was something I did with the boys. And I remember sparring one time, and I always had like a weird shoulder, but I had popped it during the middle of a sparring match and basically just went dead. And I'm like, all right, I'm out. I got to back away. And I remember the look on my oldest kid's face, and it was like, wow. I mean, that's one of the things with kids, they look up to you as Superman, they look up to you, or Ant-Man, whichever. And then I'm going to say you didn't go Superboy. I'm a little ashamed there, Jimmy, that you could have went
Superboy. I thought about Superboy. I really did. I just went Ant-Man instead, though. I was going. I honestly thought about Superboy, but I went with the Ant-Man joke.
In the upcoming movie Guardians of the Galaxy, he was Groot. He only had 3 lines because he's a terrible actor, but he was Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah, he has a little twig.
Yeah.
Little twig there. But yeah, I mean, it just it showed those times, and like I'm 50 now, and all my kids are essentially grown up. I just have one more that's under 18, and I'm seeing issues with my health and all those things, and not being that guy. Like, I joke about like, the fight there last 15 seconds. I'm like, that's why I carry all the time, because I still have enough strength to pull a trigger, and that's about the best I can do at this point. I would like to get back into it, but just medical issues, trying to figure out how to get there. But I can tell you, just being vulnerable, that it's something. I mean, going from that, young, strong, virile man that, can just go, 2 hours of sleep, all that stuff, and changing into that, that old man that, has issues walking up the stairs sometimes, or, it's a big shift, and it's hard to take. And I'm like going, I remember how I used to be. I know how I want to be, but I know where I'm at right now. And it's like, how do I, get there? But that's, kind of some of my thoughts on that topic.
Hey, Rich, I don't know if you know, but Dwayne is actually on his fitness journey right now too.
Yeah, I think you were telling me about that. I wanted to see, like, what are your thoughts on some of these things? What's your journey like currently? I'm sure being around the Big Show might have inspired you to start working out and go on a journey yourself. And listen, a journey starts with the first step. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, what area, what step of your journey you're on.
Well, I've just pretty much started. I'm doing kind of a mixture of different things. And again, full disclosure, haven't started working out yet. That's something that, as far as the kind of the health and all that stuff, it's just I was telling Jim the other day about that, trying to get there. And I will tell you that I have got a lot of issues with eating. It's one of those, I do good during the week, and then I fall victim to bad habits. Actually yesterday being one of them. And it's crazy, being, I've always had an issue with food. I was a fat kid. I went to the divorce diet, which got me down to like, 180, and I got, cut. I was working, 2-3 jobs, 2 hours of sleep, doing, getting stuff done. And I got, pretty well ripped. I've, since then gotten remarried, and, just through the years and whatever else, I've fallen back into old habits. I try to get out of them, and then it kind of knocks me right back down. I love food. I love sitting on my butt, trying to get the motivation to do that. And, a lot of people say, well, just get up and take that first step. And, where I'm at, it's like, I'm like one step away from narcolepsy at times, where I'm just sitting there, and the next thing you know, I'll just fall asleep. Or, again, there's medical issues going on that we're trying to figure out what they are, but I'm, trying to move forward. I'm on the journey. I'm trying to get there, doing, I want to say the best I can, but I fall, and, I have no one to blame but myself. I mean, I control what gets shoved in my mouth, and eating and stuff. So I have control there, but I'm hoping to get better with that. And of course, just like any food addict, I make every excuse I can, which is what I'm doing right now. Oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that. I mean, again, I'm one of those.
Can I touch on something you just said? Like, food addict. I hear this all the time. It doesn't mean if you go in with the idea, the identity, because you're always going to go back to the identity. Where if you feel you're a food addict and you identify with a food addict, you're always going to go back. It's going to be more of a struggle. You're not a food addict, okay? You're just it just has to be. You have to build the muscle of discipline of food. You have to have a better relationship with your food. So if you go in and just change that mindset that you're a food, and I hear this all the time. What people typically do, life gets in the way. You starve yourself all day. You snack all day, and then you're feasting at night because you starved yourself all day. Then you do it all week, and then I'm off. Then you're feasting on the weekends because you starved yourself all week. It's just there's no flow, and that's what I teach: is get into a flow of a discipline, and you'll do much better. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is change that identity. Get that food addict out of your head. You got to get it out of your head. And
so
then becoming more disciplined every week. I'm becoming a disciplined dad. Becoming that.
Yeah.
And that will, you have to kind of reprogram that part of your brain, your mind.
I would tell you this, I work in the medical field when it comes to fitness and, health, and Richie works more in the sports club type of situation. So we're seeing clients and patients constantly. And I would tell you that everyone struggles on the food aspect. It's the biggest pandemic right now going on. 20 years ago, when I first started this line of work, I used to try to get people from stop eating fast food all the time. And I would tell you that in today's world, I don't see too much of that as much as I used to. What I find now is that when people are eating fast food, it's mostly because of convenience. They're skipping breakfast. They're so busy. They look up at their watch.